Who is Nicholas Fairbairn? Question I have been asking myself for 34 years now. And there's still many, many layers to uncover. And I think that we'll all be learning more about ourselves for the rest of our lives. This is the beauty of the journey of the human experience. Um, so, who I am is multifaceted. There are many things I like to do. There are parts of me that people don't know anything about. Um, so I thought I would put a little video out there to, I guess, self-promote myself to the world, because I notice the world needs more leaders to step it up, and I feel that I have a skill set and I feel that I have an understanding of humanity on a deep level that can really help a few people, whether it be one or two, whether it be 1,000, whether it be 1,000,000. However many people need the support and help, I'm really ready to serve. So yeah, I guess my background story is I grew up with a single mum, low social economic, so never much money around, but enough to have food over the table and some great experiences. And there was a lot of, although there might not have been a lot of money, there was a lot of love, and that really obviously made up for it. And obviously my mum had to love me twice as much because my dad wasn't there and wasn't present. So I didn't realize how challenging that would be when I got older, because it was my normal. I didn't know anything different. And as you start growing into adulthood, and I realized that there was so much anger, so much hurt, lack of trust for people, that all stemmed from my dad. And it was a really challenging thing to work through, especially as a man. Like, I didn't have a real male figure in my life. I had my uncles and I had my pop, but I didn't have somebody that was there present all the time. So I didn't really know how to be a man. I got taught how to be a man and grow up into a man through someone who was a woman, and just through visualizing what I saw in the world. That has actually served me in many ways, because ultimately it's really helped me to understand emotions, which most men have no idea what the hell they are because they're suppressed. And whilst I did suppress some, because obviously when my dad was not in my life anymore, as a young boy, you think it's your fault, and you think, okay, well, I need to man up. I need to, I'm the man of the house now. So I had to grow up quite quickly, in my own mind. Obviously, my mum didn't expect that from me, but that's what I did. I raised a level of maturity, and trauma does that to you. And ultimately, that's what, either losing a parent through death or just not non-presence, it creates a trauma in you. And obviously, at 4 years old, that is the first 7 years of our life is when we're a sponge. So that ultimately has helped define who I am in some aspects, but also has made me had to discover what a man is and what my version of who a man is, and how I'm going to show up as a man in a society where men are, we're kind of looked at as the bad guy a lot of the time. If you look at all wars, corruption, majority of it, there's a lot of men involved in the process. And there's a lot of women that don't feel safe with things like rape still occurring, and child sex trafficking, and all these kind of disgusting things that are happening, all generally perpetuated by men. And that's something, as a man, is quite interesting to grow up around, because you're trying to let women know, hey, I'm okay, but then you also can drop into those destructive patterns that have been going on from generation to generation, because that's what all men, I'm not saying that's what all men do, but we absorb some of that masculine society, the patriarchal society, and I guess the gift that we were given and the gift that we abused. So that's a really interesting place to be in, because I know deep in my heart that there is a lot of good men out there, and there is way more good men than what you can say bad men out there. And I know that a lot of us are waking up, but the thing is, we don't have the support networks. We don't know who to go to, because there is not many male leaders that we can really look up to that might have also gone through that emotional trauma or that emotional awakening when they were, when was I, 20, 25, when I had that happen to me. And obviously that was difficult. I was working in the club industry, lots of free drinks, lots of women, making lots of money. Some would call it living the dream. A lot, just so much freedom and joy, but no deep sense of satisfaction of serving others. I was just serving myself. And what is happening right now is that a lot of men are really feeling uneasy because they want to serve, but they don't know they want to serve. So their whole life is kind of falling apart, and their thoughts and their mind, and the reality is because they've lost their purpose. They're completely disconnected from their purpose. And I guess that's where I feel I can come in, because I feel on purpose. Not all the time, okay? And if anyone is ever feeling like they've got it all together all the time, they're probably lying to you, because it's a very interesting world. We're going through something that humanity has never gone through. So that's kind of my background story. I've done lots of jobs. I've been in the infantry, army, reserves. I've done delivery jobs. I've done, packed things on the shelves at supermarkets, been in the cashier, worked club crawls all over the world. I've started my own personal training, a life coaching and gym, and then I started my own network marketing business, which I've been very successful in. And the reason I started this, and I started a couple of businesses, and the reason I ended up shifting to this model is because there was a couple of things that I wanted in my life. I wanted location independence. That was one of my big ones. And I wanted, not being capped on my the income I could earn. But the other thing was passion and purpose. I wanted something that really filled me up. And as I said, that's where a lot of men are quite stuck now. They're doing jobs to provide, or they're doing jobs to bring in money. I'm especially seeing a lot of kind of that same age that I was, 25 to 35. Maybe they don't have kids yet, but they're building themselves up that corporate ladder, and they're showing off, and they're being successful, but they fucking hurt on the inside. So deeply they hurt. But they're never going to show that. They're never going to show that vulnerability, because like me, I was successful. I was living the dream. I was doing what is known as a successful man, making money, that's kind of what's defined as success. But to be honest, us men are actually a lot deeper. We have heart, and we have really, really big ones, and they've just been locked away for so long because we never got the opportunity to be vulnerable, because you were told to man up. I wasn't. I got the option of crying. It was okay to cry in my growing up, because I had a loving and caring mum, but most boys never had that. And it was quite interesting when I started getting to my teenage years and things. I had to shift and change to fit in, bit more like a chameleon. So that's, I guess, a little bit about me. What I love is I love business. I actually really think that the change makers in the world are the business leaders, because they're the ones that are willing to do the work. You know, you can protest about something and go, yeah, that's no good. Yeah, cool. That will create awareness, and that has its place and its purpose. You can vent on social media. That's great as well, I guess, to express yourself. But the ones that are making the change are the ones that are out there doing the work. And the beauty of business in this day and age is that it's all about working on yourself. You cannot be successful in business, maybe short term, but long term, you always have to reflect back and go, shit, everything's not working because of me, and I'm the only one to blame. Because we're in a place of absolute opportunity right now. Like, there's opportunity everywhere, and it's so easy for people to think that there's not. But you know, we're in the most expansive time in humanity. So I guess the other side of me is like, I'm actually extremely spiritual, like deeply connected. You know, I've just finished my Reiki Master. I've done my Munakai rites, which is a initiation into, I guess, shamanistic practices. I'm fascinated by plant medicine. I'm fascinated by nature and the synchronicities that are everywhere. I get messages. I get visions. I can feel people. So I don't actually, I guess when I'm talking to somebody, I'm actually feeling their energy. And I actually have the ability to jump into other people's bodies. Like my soul, my life force can do that with permission from their higher self, whatever you want to call it. So when people are talking to me about their issues or their life or something, like, I can feel what's really, really wrong. And this has been very interesting for me because I've always triggered people, and it's because I can feel their highest truth. And it might be behind so many layers. And sometimes I've had to learn to zip it, because sometimes I'm just like, man, I just need to tell this person. And without permission from that person to tell them, it can be too much of an eye-opener for them. But I know that this is part of my purpose, because we're going through this place right now, and what happens is people come to me because they know I will tell the truth. It's one of my highest core values, is truth. And you know, I'm not saying I'm right, okay, because every individual has their own truth. But when somebody comes to you and you speak to them and you can tap into that wisdom that's inside you and share a message, it's powerful. And people get some pretty damn dramatic shifts. And I guess that's what I'm here to say today, is humanity is going to go through some pretty very, very interesting changes. Where what's called ascending. And for those that are more spiritual, I guess like I was, where I disassociated from my physical body because my energy was too great for this, or I thought it was too great for this physical vessel, and I couldn't figure out how to mold and shape and sit in here. For the spiritual people, your road to the ascension process is complete embodiment into the physical 3D ground, like in the body, like into your temple and owning the shit out of it. And for the people that I guess are closed off to spirituality and think it's all woo-woo, you got the opposite. Shit's gonna get real. You're gonna hear voices. You're gonna see things. Like numbers are going to start popping up, like 333, 1111, just everywhere. Your whole physical 3D world will, like someone's got a bucket and just tipped it all out, and it's all going to go to shit. Something will wake you the fuck up. So yeah, it's pretty bloody exciting. And the reason this is happening is because we are in the greatest time ever. And the time is actually just, it's not real. We are opening up into what's called you know, multiple realities, multiple timelines, or you could say the word shit's gonna get weird. Time will go backwards and forwards. There will be no rush. It's interesting, eh? There will be no rush. It's a really it's undescribable because it's never happened before in a physical body, and this vessel is going to carry us to the world that we collectively dream together. And there'll be some that collectively dream chaos, and there'll be a certain percentage that collectively dream pure bliss and joy and love. And those that are in that space of pure bliss, love, joy, and abundance of time and abundance of resources are going to be the ones that, I guess, are guiding the others, saying, hey, you know what? You don't need to stay here. You just got to let go of it. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to have to let go of stories. We're going to have to let go of anger, pain, all these lower vibrational things that do not serve our purpose. And every single one of us is going to go through what you could call the dark night of the soul. Not a fun place to be. And the dark night of the soul is where, your whole life just is fucked. Like, properly. And you don't think you can make it out. And for those that are in that space now, I want to be extremely clear with you. You can make it out. You deserve to make it out. You deserve joy. You are loved and you are supported. This part of your journey will be the part that makes you empathetic to others. That's why it's needed. Because if you don't have that part, you can go, oh yeah, I know how it feels, but you don't. When you do know how it feels, and you've gone through the process of after it and before it, you could, when you have hindsight, you can see, oh yeah, that was coming for 2, 3, 4, 5 years and I ignored it. Hindsight is beautiful. But yeah, everything will be okay. Humanity has got this. We are incredible when we work together. And all we have to do is surrender to love. And I know that sounds like cliche, airy-fairy, but that's what we have to do. We just have to surrender to the fact that something has got our back, because we deserve our dreams to be fulfilled. The thing is, the dreams that we thought, like our mind is playing out, they're not the ones that will come true. It's going to be the ones from the heart and the soul. The ones that you had when you were a little kid. The true ones, not the ones that were programmed and stuffed down your throat. What you really desire. That's what's going to come true. So anyways, that's me. I thought I'd share a little bit about myself. I guess what I'm really, really passionate about is I want to help men. I really want to help men. Like, I want women to be able to trust men, and I want and kids to be able to trust men. And I don't see that they do. And you could be the best person in the world and they're still not going to trust you yet, because if you look at, based on the results of majority of men, on some level, we're playing out stories that they can't trust us. We're running power rackets where we're not opening up emotional. We're not vulnerable, so they don't trust us because they don't know who we are. We're solid, but we're not human. It's kind of like we've become robotic. And I want to change that, because I know that there's a new level of man coming, And, you know, I know that the men of Earth will be what stories are told about in the future. We will be, and the women of Earth, but the men of Earth, there's going to be stories told for generations to come about how we shifted and how we joined in brotherhood and we joined in a collective. So it's exciting. And if you're a man and you're opening up to all of this, I guess, straight up, my biggest tool that I use was what I do for work. Is I started with my essential oils. Sounds weird. How can something change somebody so much? And I always thought differently, and I always, I guess, looked at the world in a different way. But they were just something that just helped me shift whatever it was that was holding me back. And it's something that I use daily, and it's something that supports me. And I think what's happening is, as we go through these shifts, we need a tool belt of things of wellness. So it's a group of people around you, the right, I guess, products that you could use, the right environment. There's so many layers. So yeah, if you feel like I'm the right person to support you, I just want you to reach out and know that it's okay to not be okay. And I know there's a big movement for this, especially in Australia. But I don't think we're talking about it deep enough. We're kind of at the level of, men have emotions, I'm feeling anxiety and depression. Yeah, why the fuck are we though? Why is so many of us feeling that way? It's because we've lost our purpose. We've lost our purpose as a brotherhood, and we're deeply disconnected from it, and it hurts us. And until we can get back to that, we're never gonna feel fulfilled ever. And it's gonna get worse before it gets better for some.